What's going on? How you doing, guys? Florida Green Water Angler coming at you guys again this Sunday. So, hope everybody's staying dry this weekend. All right, it's been great. We've had a lot of rain. Over the past probably 2 months, we've had a serious drought, and over the past probably a week, it's been pouring every single day, and it's been so nice. Now, as you can see, this video ain't about the weather. This video is about the brand new Bull Bay LMG. I picked up this rod at the Bull Bay main office in Lakeland, about 30 minutes from where I live. And anyway, I went in. I wanted to look at these rods. I'm actually having them do a custom rod for me right now, a spinning rod for inshore, which I'll be doing a review on that probably next week when it's ready. But I walked in and looked around a little bit, and for those of y'all that don't know me, I'm a big bass fisherman too. I don't just do saltwater, I do a lot of bass stuff. And my favorite way to bass fish is to throw a big jig. So as you can see, that's what I've got on here. Big old 3/8 ounce black and blue jig. Now, so I kind of, I picked the rod up a little bit, felt it in the store, and I always, if I'm going somewhere, I know I'm going to buy a rod. I know I'm going to get it. There's always one little deciding factor usually that determines whether or not I buy it or not, and that's how comfortable it is with the reel on it. So I always, if anybody else does this, drop a comment, let me know too, because I want to hear it. But if I go somewhere and I'm buying a bait casting rod, I'll bring a bait caster with me. If I go somewhere where I'm buying a spinning rod, I'll bring a spinning rod with me, and I'll put it on the rod and feel it and make sure it's comfortable. So I did. I took my Corrado in there, and just a Corrado K-Series, the black one that came out several years ago. It's a 200 HG high gear, and I took that in there with me, and man, I paired them up, and between the lightness of the Corrado and the reel seat, I'll get into the specs on the rod in a little bit, but just the reel seat is really, really, really comfortable in my hand. Some rods you'll pick it up, and where the little trigger is, it'll after a little while of fishing it or working a jig or whatever, it'll make like a hard spot or a cramp right in here. If you bow up on a fish real hard, it'll make a really hard pinch on the inside of your fingers. And I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a girl or nothing, but it hurts. So that was one of the big things about this rod that I love, because it doesn't do that. All right, so we're going to kind of get into the rod. I'm going to tell you guys about it and then give you guys my honest impressions on it. There'll be some pros, there will be some cons. All right, so we'll dive right into it. So like I said, this rod in particular right here is I want to say it's a 7-1. It's a 7-1 heavy action. All right, you're looking at like 12, I think it's 12 to 25. Yep, I'm on a roll. 12 to 25. Great rod for throwing jigs, good for throwing frogs, especially. It's a really, really good rod for throwing not just frogs, but soft-bodied frogs. Anything that's rubber, like just for example, Guggen Baits came out with a new toad that reels across the surface. The Strike King Rage Tail frogs. Those frogs in particular, it throws those really well. It's got a real light tip. It's got a lot of backbone, but it's got a really light tip. So what they've done with this reel seat right here, they've done an Alps reel seat. Okay, you've got some carbon fiber in here. Very, very comfortable. Extremely, extremely light. But this is a very, very, very comfortable reel seat. When I hold a bait caster, doesn't matter how I'm fishing it, I never hold it like this. I never put that trigger in the center of my fingers. Certainly not like that. I'm not Bama Bass. I don't know how he does it like this, but he does. And I don't put my hand all the way up here to where the trigger's back there. I put it right here. I always put that trigger between my pinky and my ring finger, and that's how I work a jig. It's just like that right there. I get a bite like that. Okay, if I'm swimming a chatterbait, same thing. It's the same hand position every single time. It's extremely comfortable. It doesn't really matter how you hold it. whichever way you want to hold it, the reel seat is really, really comfortable. And that's a big thing when I buy a bait caster. That's a real big thing, is that the reel seat and the handle have to be comfortable. Okay, so for those of y'all that don't know, Bull Bay does a couple of unique things with their rods that I haven't seen too many rods before do. So I'm working with an iPhone here, so I hope you guys can see this, but I'm going to loosen this reel seat up a little bit. So you've got two knobs to work with your reel seat. All right, so you've got this one right here, okay, which unscrews, and then you've got your main one. If I can get this off, I had it locked on there pretty hard. There it goes. All right, so now I can take this reel off if I want. I'm obviously not going to, but you've got this normal screw lock reel seat, okay, that every rod just about has, okay, just like that. What I like is that, and even on my spinning rods too, they have this. There's a little nut, a little follow-up nut as well that screws down, just to help keep that reel seat in place and keep it locked on. Okay, several rods I've had in the past, nice rods. You set hook on fish, you fight the fish for a bit, especially fighting inshore. You're fighting, redfish, big snook, tarpon, big black drum. These are hard fighting fish. They pull hard. You have to, I hate that feeling of feeling that reel move on that reel seat. It just feels terrible. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like you're going to lose the fish, and that's the last thing you want to be thinking about. With this, you don't have that, okay? It just completely eliminates it right out the window. All right, now, another thing I'm going to get into is the handle. All right, real nice EVA foam grip handle, very comfortable. I was getting it wet and just seeing if my hands would slip on it a little bit. Didn't happen. Got a little bit of cork in here too. It's a real interesting looking grip. I like it a lot. If anybody knows Bull Bay rods, the Banshee grips are almost identical to this. Very similar. The new Banshee rod that they just came out with, the saltwater series. But super comfortable. Okay. The guides are these real good Fuji guides. All right. Everything was just really well put together. I was very happy with the way everything was put together. What I like about these two front guides too is the foot on them. If you guys can see that, the foot and the guide are cantered forward. All right, on these two especially right here. Okay, what that'll do is it allows that line to flow through those guides a lot straighter. You have less this going through the guides and more just a straight line going through, which is what you want. It's going to help your casting distance, it's going to help your hook set, it's going to help your retrieve. Okay, now let's get into a couple of the cons. All right, and there's not many, but there are a few. Number one, I like a rod that has a hook keeper. Okay, a place where you can, stow your hook. A lot of them under here, some are up top, some are on the side. This one is way down here. All right, like that. Okay, I don't like it. It might sound very stupid and just very like sticklerish or whatever, if that's even a word, sticklerish, I don't know. But I don't like that at all. I don't like the hook keeper being down here. Okay. Now when I bass fish, when I saltwater fish, different story. But when I bass fish, usually other reason why I don't like it down there is it's a friggin' pain to get out. But usually when I bass fish, whether I throw a jig, a frog, whatever it is, 9 out of 10 times I stow it just like that. I put my jig right through the top of my reel on the little line feeder right there on the open face. Usually that's what I do. Okay. Or if there is sometimes it depends on how many rods I've got in the truck. If there is a hook keeper, I'll put it down here. If there is a hook keeper on the rod down here, I'll do that. Okay. But I don't like the fact that it's all the way down there. Okay. Now, again, that's just me. That's just a preference that I have. Okay. You might not care. It might not bother you whatsoever, but I didn't like it. So, again, when I run you know, freshwater stuff, my jig's always up here anyway, or my frog, chatterbait, whatever I'm throwing, I always have it up there. Okay, now I've got a salt series here, a saltwater rod they make, and as you can see, the hook keeper is right there. All right, the new rod they're building me right now, same thing. The hook keeper's gonna be down there. Okay, so that's what I like on the saltwater rod. Oh, and then just so y'all know, this rod right here, this is the Assault series. Okay, this also has the same locking nut. Okay, I'm not gonna take it off. Actually, I could probably loosen up a little bit. Yep. So if I unscrew that, this reel is going to come off, right? But you tighten it down real tight, okay? And then you've got your other locking nut right here you can screw on, just like that front one. And it's not going anywhere. You have a rock solid connection from your spinning reel to your rod. There's not even a wobble, not even a wiggle, nothing. I love it. All right. So that's one con, all right? It's down there. Okay, don't like that. All right, now, con number 2. I would like to have seen a few more guides on the rod. Now, I obviously, you know, I'm not trying to trash Bull Bay or nothing. I love Bull Bay rods, all right? I'm just saying, I'm trying to kind of play devil's advocate a bit and, you know, just be honest about them. I'm not a biased channel. There's no biased stuff here. You know, I just believe in being honest about my impressions of the rod. I would have liked to have seen a couple more guides, okay? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 guides. You know, usually that's okay. That's a good number. I would have liked to have maybe seen one more right here. You know, but other than that, that's it, okay? I'm kind of just clutching at straws to find cons because honestly there weren't that many. Other than that, guys, it's a great rod. I've caught a lot of bass on it, whether it be with a jig. I've caught a couple on a frog, and then I even rolled a chatterbait with this rod. Now this is actually a kind of a heavier rod to throw a chatterbait on. It's a 7-foot 1 action heavy action rod. Okay, it's a pretty stout rod. Like I said, it's got a light tip though, and I thought I can probably just slow roll a chatterbait around with it and just see how it feels. You can feel the vibration a pretty good bit. It's not like a medium action. That'll be a medium or a medium heavy is usually what I throw a chatterbait on. But you know, it still worked really well. I love their logo. They've got their Bull Bay logo down here. If you guys can see that, okay. Very, very nice rod. Very comfortable. Very versatile. Okay, like I said, this is a heavy action rod. All right. I'll see if I can show you guys the tip real quick, and y'all can see the tip flex on it. If I can get far enough away. All right, so it's like probably a 70-30 bend. All right, so you know the major bend you're gonna see is just in that lighter tip, and all the rest of this. I mean, once you hit about right here on the rod, all the rest of this back here is just backbone. And it showed. I've pulled several bass over 5 pounds out with it in Orlando last week and the week before with a buddy of mine, and it did phenomenal. And that was actually my first real test of it, as I just wanted to see how it did on some bass in Orlando. Sorry, but anyway, guys, great rod. Okay, very versatile rod. I can take this rod and throw it. I can cut this jig off of it. You know, pull this 20-pound fluorocarbon off, spool it up with 30-pound braid and go catch redfish on it. It's a great rod. Very comfortable. Pretty affordable. I think they're like 160, 170 bucks. Pretty affordable rod. Okay. Lifetime warranty with these rods too. All right. They've got a great warranty on their stuff. Okay. Doesn't matter if it's stolen. Doesn't matter why it broke or how it broke. You send it back to them. They will send you a new rod. That's their policy. So, anyway, guys, this is Florida Greenwater Wrangler signing off. Just wanted to do my review and my first impressions and initial thoughts on the brand new from Bull Bay LMG rod. All right, guys, take care. Tight lines.